king. The Jewish people want a king, and although Shmuel, who was the prophet at the time, was a bit reluctant, he wasn't really happy about their request, and he discusses it with God, and God says, don't feel they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me, and you should give them a king, even though I'm not so pleased either, but if that's what they want, you better give it to them, but warn them what they're in for. And Shmuel predicts a very a dire future if they have a king, because the king, the way the Malbim sees it, is the king that they wanted would be a king who was somewhat above the law meaning Torah law. And Shmuel says if you have a king like that, then it won't be very pleasant, because he will stretch his rights, extend his rights to the point that it's really very, very difficult. And lots of countries were like that. That's why there's very few monarchies around today, because the people like the British rebelled against their monarchs, and so did the French and the Germans and the Russians, and that's why there's no monarchs around, right? So it seems that the way the Malbim reads the text, that they got the point, and they say, okay, so a king, we'd like a king who will be subject to Torah law, and who will lead us out to battle, who will judge us. And Shmuel says, okay, and God says it's fine, but we've got to pick somebody. So the next chapter is about who we're going to pick, right? So we started yesterday, chapter Yud Beis. Let's just quickly go to the beginning. Where is it?
Chapter? Page 22.
Page 22, yes. Perek Tes, right. So we said there was a man from Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin. His name was Kish, the son of Aviah, the son of Tzorah, the son of Bechorat, the son of Aviach, the son of a Benjaminite who was the Kish. This man was a great warrior. Probably that's what it means. Which means a soldier. It could also mean he was valiant in other ways as well. Like we mentioned yesterday, we talked about a woman who's Aish Chayil, right? That doesn't mean she was a soldier. It means that she is a great tzadekes. So Chayil can mean making money. It can mean doing mitzvahs. It just means great in whatever you're doing. Now, he was a gibor. A gibor means mighty. Usually it means physically mighty. That doesn't mean that he could lift 300 pounds. Unlikely it means that. So it probably means that he was a warrior, a soldier in battle. Okay, that was Kish. And we say, now he had a son called Shaul, who was a choice man, Bachor, someone who you'd pick. Although it's clear that he wasn't being picked at this time, because we'll find out that he's got 3 or 5 sons, I think, and 2 daughters by the time he dies, which is not a long time after this time. It's not short, he wasn't king for a long time. Okay, the simple way of reading the text is he was king for 2 years. Although a lot happens in that time. It's a bit hard to see how all that could have fitted in, but it could have fitted in, right? And if he was king for 2 years and he's got 7 children, he couldn't have been a kid at the time he was picked as king. He must have already been in his 30s, earliest in his 30s. Let's say he got married when he was 15, right? And he had 7 kids each year, right? But his kids are out fighting as well in battle. So it's hard to believe there's anybody under the age of 15 fighting. It could be, it's hard to believe that. Even that's hard to believe, right? But I'm just trying to minimize it as much as possible. He's got kids who are dying in battle with him, and they're valiant soldiers who were, so they're all, he's probably in his 40s already. When he's called a Bachor, it means he wasn't young, and he wasn't Bachor in the sense that it means to be picked, someone who you would pick as a son-in-law, because he's married and got a big family. So it means if he would have been single and eligible, then you would have picked him as a son-in-law. That's what it means, Bachor. Because he was really special. He was tall, dark, handsome, clever, and big tzaddik, etc., etc. I had it all going for him. It says there was no man in the whole of Israel better than him. He was head and shoulders taller than the rest of the people. So he was physically very, what's the word? Commanding. That's the right word. Presence, a man of presence. Okay, that's what we're up to. Pasuk Gimel. So let's go slowly now. Tovadna. Tovadna, that's a hard word because its root word is hidden in the middle there. What is it?
Avad.
Avad is? Come on.
Work.
No.
Work.
No, that's with an ayin. Come on, you know this word. You've been learning about it all the last 3 months since the beginning of Zman. In Bava Metzia. Hashavas? Aveda. When you return lost property. So right? Le'abed means to lose, right? With an ayin it means to work. With an aleph, right? It's unfortunate we Ashkenazim don't distinguish between aleph and ayin, so it's the same to us. Right? If you really know the difference, it's a completely different word. There's no real connection. Well, there is some connection because they're both cultural letters. They both come aleph and ayin are interchangeable, not really.
What does the word mean?
Ovad means to lose. So now, tovadna is when a feminine in the plural past tense, right?
And she lost.
Right? And no, not she lost. The she's were lost. They, meaning the women, were lost. Not women, because we're talking about everything in Hebrew is feminine. What we're going to see is that what was lost was a group of female things. Okay? So they were lost. Who were lost? The girls were lost. So the females were lost. What was it was lost? Ha'atonot, the donkeys. Now, there's two words for Hebrew for donkey. A chamor is a male donkey. Aton is a female donkey. Not eton. Eton is a newspaper. That's with an ayin. With an aleph, it's a female donkey. Why it's important that it's female, I have no idea. But that's what it is. In most languages, you just say female donkey, right? I think. Yeah. And even in Hebrew, you have sus, susa, par, para, right? But sometimes you have a whole new word, which here, it's a whole new word. I don't know why, it's a special word for a female donkey. It's called an aton. Like Bilam's donkey. Remember Bilam, the man who wanted to curse the Jewish people? He also had a female donkey, an aton. Okay, talking donkey, right? Vatovadna ha'atonot lekish, avi Shaul. So Kish, the father of Shaul, lost his donkeys. He lost them, got lost. Vayomer Kish el Shaul. So Kish said to Shaul, Beno, his son, Kach na itcha. Please take with you et achad mehana'arim, one of the lads. I suppose Kish was a well-to-do man who had people who were his servants. Slaves, right? They were servants who worked as servants in his house. And he says to Shaul, take one of them with you and go, lech, go, bakesh. Bakesh means, bakesh shalom v'rafehu. Bakesh means to seek out. What do you say, Isaac?
Out.
Out?
Out.
No. Bakesh, to seek out, right? To seek out. Right. Bakesh, to seek out. Et ha'atonot, go and find women. Go and find the female donkeys.
What's mehana mean?
The lads.
The lads?
Lads. Na'ar is a lad. A lad. L-A-D. A young man, like
my boy.
Right, like an adolescent. Usually it means a person of around 12 or 13 years old. It's not only mean that, that's what it usually means. Unless you have a reason to think it means someone older or younger, that's probably what it means. To prove. If, for example, Yoshua, Moshe Rabbeinu's lad, is called a Na'ar even though he's 40 years old. So it isn't necessarily an indication of age, but usually it does. Okay? So take one of the young boys with you, but come and get up. Come means get up, lay, go, bakesh es ha'asaynos, go and search. You know what it means here? It means to search for the donkeys. Okay? Ya'avor bahar Ephraim. La'avor means to pass. Like when you do an aveira, you're transgressing, you're passing the line of prohibition, right? Up to here you're allowed to go. So Vaya'avor means to pass. On his search for the donkey, he's passed Bahar Ephraim, through the mountains of Ephraim, which is more north than Binyamin. Binyamin is around where we are now, right? Binyamin is north of the Temple Mount. Okay, we're actually in Yehuda because we're south of the Temple Mount at the moment, right? A little bit more north, 300 yards away from here is the border between Yehuda and Binyamin, and from there northwards is Binyamin. It goes on for about, 10 miles or whatever. It's not very big, Binyamin, 20 miles, and then you get to the region of Ephraim. So they're going north to the mountains of Ephraim. Now, Ya'avor, and he passed. It's interesting it says it in the singular, because the leader of this expedition is Shaul. There's actually more than one person. Sometimes it's in the singular, sometimes in the plural. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but I just want you just to notice it. Yeah. Vaya'avor, they passed through the Har Ephraim. Vaya'avor Eretz Shalisha. They also went through a land called Shalisha. I don't know why it's called that. Shalisha sounds like something to do with three, but that's the name of the area. V'lo matza'u, and they did not find. See, here it's now in the plural. Vaya'avru, now it's in the plural. Be'eretz Sha'alim. They also went through the land. They traversed. That's the word. They passed through the land of Sha'alim. V'ayin, and ayin. That's with an ayin. This is with an aleph. Ayin with an ayin is an I. Ayin with an aleph means naught. N-O-U-G-H-T means nothing. When you say yesh me'ayin, God created ex nihilo, which means from nothing. Yesh means there is, ayin means there isn't. So it means they went through and there was nothing. It means there was nothing there either. But ya'avor, now it's gone back to the singular. I'm sure the Malbim will have something to say about this. That's the Malbim's forte of noticing these slight nuances in the text and having a very ingenious explanation of why it should change. Because there's probably no tradition in Chazal. Chazal, you generally speaking, don't go into such detailed discussions of the Psukim in Tanach, and he will often have an ingenious, but I don't ever recall seeing an idea. Vaya'avor be'eretz Yemini. And he passed through the land of Yemini, that means the land of Binyamin. It looks like they're on the way back. Yemini is the land of Binyamin. So they were already in the land of Binyamin. It could be they didn't look the first time, but I would have thought that's the most obvious place to look. Look first close by home, then you go to Ephraim, and then they didn't find it, so went back. V'loi matzo, and they still, again it's in the plural, V'loi matzo, and they didn't find. Tough. Heima bo be'eres tzuf. So Heima means like they, Heim, Bo, came, Be'eretz Tzuf, into the land of Tzuf. Tzuf, Bo, Lavo is to come. So they came to the land of Tzuf. Now we've had the land of Tzuf right in the first chapter of Shmuel. It's where Shmuel, Tzuf was one of the ancestors of, look in the second line, Shmuel's great-great-great-grandfather was called Tzuf. And the place where he lives was called Ramatayim Tzofim, probably named after this great ancestor. And a lot of his descendants lived in this area. So it became named after this ancestor who gave name to all these fourth or fifth cousins who all lived in the same area. So this is the land, they come to the land of Tzuf. Now we know that Shmuel lives there. V'Shaul HaMelech, Shaul said to his lad, Asher Imo, who was with him, Lecha v'nashuva. Let's go and return. So lech means to go. Lecha is like let's go. Let's go v'nashuva, and we will go back. Like you do teshuva, same word. Not from lashevet, which means to sit down, but lashuv, to go back. Sometimes difficult to see the difference. Nashuva, the nun means we will return. Let's go back. We're going to go back, even though we haven't found the donkeys yet. Pen means lest, L-E-S-T, which means in simple English, we better do this in order that this doesn't happen. It means if we don't go back, what might happen? Yechdal avi min ha'asaynois. Avi, my father, Yechdal. Yechdal means to stop. Means to stop. He'll stop worrying about the donkeys, v'do'ag lanu, and will worry about us. So the word worry is missed out in the first half of the sentence. That's what it means. At the moment, he's worried about the donkeys, but if we keep missing, we've been gone for a whole week, this is going to start worrying about us. So we had better go back. Call off the search and go back. Because they have to send a new search party looking for us. Right?
Us.
Us or not are donkeys.
All right.
You'll notice, if you notice carefully, sometimes it's spelled with a vav and sometimes it isn't. In Pasuk Gimel, it had atonot with a vav. The end of Pasuk Gimel says atonot without a vav. And then the third time it said with a vav. What's the point? I've no idea.
And dag is worry.
Da'ag means to worry, yes. Da'ag has nothing to do with fish. That's dag without an aleph. Da'ag as a verb means to worry.
Why is it saying this here? It seems.
Well, you have to see. This is the way Shmuel gets to meet Shaul, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's only half an answer, because I'm sure could have made much more simple ways of Shmuel meeting Shaul. They could have met when they went to the base of Mikdash or the Mishkan, right?
Yeah.
But there's obviously something very deep about these donkeys and losing the donkeys, but I haven't seen anyone who gives a simple explanation. So simply, it's the story. It's part of the storyline, right? I have a maybe a very deep Kabbalistic, shallow Kabbalistic suggestion, right? But
What? Yeah.
look, it relates to the fact that Mashiach is riding on a donkey. Mashiach is seen as riding a donkey. Ani aroichav ala chamor. The idea behind that is usually understood that chamor, which is a donkey, is related to the word chomer, which means matter.
This is not.
No, just a minute. Because Mashiach is in control. Chomer means the gashmias, physicality. Mashiach will only be able to do Mashiach when he's riding on his physicality. It means he's in total control. But he's not an angel. He's a physical human being, but he's in total control. That's why he has to ride on a donkey, right? So, bearing that in mind, there may be some relationship. The question is, why are they female donkeys there? Why are they male donkeys? Okay, so then, Moshe Rabbeinu, for example, when he comes to redeem the Jewish people, he's also riding on a donkey. Avraham Avinu, when he goes to the Akedah, he's riding on a donkey. No, it's the same donkey, unlikely because it'll be hundreds of years old, but it's the same idea. So we've got Moshe Rabbeinu, Avraham Avinu, and Mashiach all riding on donkeys, right? When King David tells to anoint Shlomo HaMelech, he tells him to go down on his donkey. Now, donkey isn't a royal animal. You never will see the Queen in Buckingham Palace riding on a donkey, right? And yet it's associated with David HaMelech. So that's why I think that David HaMelech is trying to not make a royal parade. I'm sure when David is a royal parade, he's on a horse, right? I just assume it's hard to believe that King David HaMelech rode on donkeys. And if he did, right, it's either for some practical reasons, because the mountains around Yerushalayim are not conducive to riding horses. That's a bit weak. I mean, it might be, right? But you send a guy off to a royal procession to anoint him on a donkey. It's just, to me, it must be there's something symbolic of it, which makes sense, because if Mashiach comes from Shlomo HaMelech, right? So are you going to do the same thing? You want to be a good king, you have to control your physicality. I get all that. But then I suddenly see in certain places in Tanach that it's a female donkey. For example, later on we'll see that Avshalom, who rebelled against David, he got his long hair caught in the terebinth, and that's how he was killed. He's riding a female donkey. And he wants to be king. That was his whole thing. He was rebelling against his father. So it looks again, the royalty is in riding a donkey, but he got the wrong message. Something slightly wrong about it, right? So the difference between a male and a female. So that's a very Kabbalistic concept about who does the work, who sits at home and who does the work. It means the man provides the goods, but the woman does the work in a sense of reproduction. Right? The man provides the seed, but that's all he does. The woman does all the work, right? You know, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I think the game of chess is like that as well. You see, in the game of chess, the king does hardly anything. But in a real world, the queen isn't even a concept in the real world. In a real world, the king runs the country, and the queen just sits and queens. She doesn't do anything. What does a queen do when she's the wife of the king? Nothing. What does she do? And yet, in the chess game, the queen does everything. The king just sits there, moves one here. The queen's dead, that's the end of the game. But the queen is the one who does all the work. So I don't know, I think the chess game was made by the tradition of Shlomo HaMelech, who invented chess, and it's all like Kabbalistic references, and it's the Malchus of the end of the spheres, the seven spheres, right? The Melech is at the top, but the Malchus is a female and does all the work, and maybe it's a different understanding of I mean, there's male royalty and female royalty. They represent two different things. One is the one there's monarchy isn't necessarily the king. It's the one who does everything. That's the female aspect of the monarchy. The male aspect of the monarchy is the one who doesn't do anything. Just the king, but doesn't do anything. So maybe that's the reason why one's got a female donkey, one's got a male donkey, representing different ideas, understanding of monarchy. But the question is, why do the donkeys have to get lost? Right? So that could be because God's trying to hint to Shaul that he's making him king. He's got to get rid of his female donkeys and take male donkeys instead. But I don't know. I just threw that all out to you. You can like it, not like it. I have no idea. I've never seen anyone discuss any of this. I just put a bit things together. But only because you asked, you pushed me into saying it. I wouldn't just say it. All right. Okay. So, what did he say? So the lad said back to Shaul, Hine. Hine means behold. Behold in English really means surprise. When you notice something that wasn't obvious. Behold. Hine no means please behold. Means please. And it's not so clear what word not. Not has three meanings. sometimes means please, it sometimes means now, and it sometimes means half cooked, but it doesn't mean that here. When it says you mustn't eat the korban pesach no, it doesn't mean please or now. It means half cooked. So no has three meanings. Only from the context you can see what it means. Here it certainly doesn't mean half cooked, but it could mean behold now or behold please. No, we don't really tell. Ish Elohim Ba'ir, there is a man of God in the city, Hazois, in this city. That means the city nearby lives the man of God. This is the lad telling Shaul, who either didn't know this or didn't notice it. Okay, I don't know, right? But the lad tells Shaul, it says, he's talking about Shmuel, right? Va'ish nichbad, and the man is nichbad. Nichbad, from the word, take the nun off, the nun is a prefix. Kaf base dalet is kavod. Kavod is?
Kol hakavod.
Kol hakavod means honor. He is very respected. The nun is a nifal, means passive. It's not something he's doing, it's something other people do to him. He is respected. Not he respects, he is respected. Nichbad, the man, this man of God, is respected.
Hazot.
Didn't everyone
Nichbad.
know? Didn't everyone know who Shmuel was? Like, why didn't he just say Shmuel?
Don't know. Good question. Don't know. Because maybe you didn't refer to him by his first name. I mean, you could say Shmuel HaNavi. Reb Shmuel HaNavi. Rav Agon Shmuel HaNavi.
Right,
Right?
whatever you're going to say.
Yeah,
What
I
does
know.
it say there?
But the point, because the point is he wants to stress the fact that he's a man of God and therefore you can ask him where the donkeys are.
Oh,
That's the point. He doesn't want us to say hello, right? He wants to ask Shmuel where the donkeys are and Shmuel will be able to tell him because he's a man of God, right? So he wants to point out. So Aish, this man Nichbad, he is respected.
What's Hazot?
This when you talk about female.
Yeah.
Since a city is female, right? A city is a feminine noun in Hebrew, you have to say Zot. But Aish, this man of God, Nichbad, he is respected. Hi.
Sorry.
You got new stuff, no problem. Kol asher yidaber. Kol asher yidaber, which means anything that he will say. Kol, all, asher, that, yidaber, he will say, bo yavo, will surely come. Whatever he predicts will happen. From experience, the lad of Shaul, this was, I don't know if he'd ever needed Shmuel, but this was the rumor. Everyone knew whatever Shmuel says will happen. Yavo ata, bo yavo. Ata, with an ayin. Ata with an ayin means, you know, Dylan.
Yeah.
Now, very good. Ata now, nelecha, let us go. Lech is go. Nelech, we will go. Nelecha, let us go. Sham, let's go there. Ulai, maybe, yagid lanu, yagid, he will tell. Like,
All these maybe.
ulai. Ulai means maybe. Maybe. Maybe he'll tell us. Now, it wasn't that the lad had any doubts about Shmuel's ability to tell them, but yes, whatever he says will come true, right? But maybe he doesn't have time, maybe he's too busy, right?
Seems like a waste
Right?
of his time.
Yes, it's actually interesting. I think that Balatanya asked this question, right? It's what people do with their profits. You go to the police when you lose your donkeys, right? Profit. Apparently, this was something you did, right? It was very straightforward. I mean, today you wouldn't give to a god ladar for that, but it is the profits. So he just can see where they are. So, okay. Maybe he'll tell us. Es darkenu, our way, means which way we should go to find them. Asher halachnu aleha, that we have gone on. That doesn't mean tell us the way we've come. We know the way we've come. It means he'll tell us the route, which is the way that we've gone on, should take us. We've gone on a journey to look for the donkeys. That's the journey that we've gone on. He'll tell us which way to go on this route.
It's written like backwards.
Yes, you should say he'll tell us that we should go, right? It means how we should complete the journey that we've gone on. Okay? All right. Shaul HaNavi. Shaul said to his lad. Got it? Bottom line of page 22. Yes. Shaul said to his lad, V'hine, behold, Nelech. We'll go. Okay, let's say you're right, we'll go. Uma Navi Laish. Now, it's an interesting play on words. The word Navi often means a prophet. It doesn't mean they're here. No, it doesn't mean they're here at all. It means what will we bring? The nun is a prefix for we. Be is like bo, lavo, right? What will we bring? Doesn't mean what prophet. No. Man Navi. What will we bring?
And what? Yeah.
Laish to the man. we can't go empty-handed. That's what he thinks. You can't go empty-handed. You can't come with empty-handed. Nothing. You've got to give him something. Some type of sign of respect. You say, bring a bar of chocolate, bunch of flour, something. Right? We don't have anything left. Manavila ish, what we will give to the man. Ki halechem azal. The bread has azal. Now that's a very, very obscure word. It means finished. It's gone. It's used in modern Hebrew. I know, Monday nights I go to my shopping sale. So if you order it online, and there's never enough there for all the people who've ordered. So if you come late, there's you have to fill in a form, and if it's missing, it means they had it but they ran out. You use the word azal. Azal means they've run out of it. It's not like it's disappeared or it's lost. No, it doesn't mean that. It means we've eaten it all up. That's what you're saying. It looks to me like an Aramaic word, but anyway, it's used in modern Hebrew. Azal mi kelenu, from our kelim. Kelim are vessels or utensils or whatever. So there's no bread left in our containers. It's all finished. We finished it all up. Ki alechem azal mi kelenu. But teshura ein lahavi. Teshura is another word for a present. I don't know why there are so many words in Hebrew for present. You can say shai, which is like quite a common name. Shai means a present. Matana is a present. And teshura, there are obviously nuances. We believe there are no real synonyms in Hebrew. So they're slightly nuanced, different, but I don't know. Teshura ein lahavi leish ha'elokim. There is no present because we can't even give him a sandwich. Right? We've got nothing. We run out of food. What we're going to give him? Leish Elohim ma'itanu. What's with us means, do we have anything else to give? Ma'itanu. What's with us? Okay. The lad continued. Laosif means to do more. He didn't give in. He answered him. La'anot, to answer. Eshol. This is what he said. Hine, behold, nimtza biyadi. Nimtza, from the word elu metzios, which is what you're learning in Shiva, right? That means Hashavas Aveda is the mitzvah too. Right, so metzios is when you find. So nimtza means it is found. The nun is not a prefix as in we, but as in nun, and the nifal meaning the passive. Matzah is to find. Nimtza, it was found. So nimtza, it is found in my hand. Reva shekel kesef. Reva is Reva. Quarter, very good. A quarter shekel, a quarter of a silver shekel. So in America you have a coin called a quarter, right?
Yes.
In English you don't have such a thing, right? Okay, but here there was a quarter, apparently there was a coin called a quarter of a shekel. I've got a quarter of a shekel in my pocket. Well, it doesn't say pocket, right? It says in my hand, but it probably means in his pocket. The nasati, and I will give. Right? Nasati means I gave. The nasati, and I will give. Leish Elokim, to the man of God. That's it. Look, we don't have any more. We've got something. It's strange, to me it's a bit strange custom. You couldn't come empty-handed, you had to give the prophet something. You came, but even a quarter of a shekel, that's enough. Even that's enough. Fine, you gave something. Right? But to come with nothing, that's out of place. Don't really know what the idea is.
Why do you even suggest bread in the first place? Why didn't you just go straight to the...
No, that was Shaul's idea. Shaul said, what we're going to give. Shaul didn't know. The guy said, I've got a quarter in my pocket, we'll give that. And that'll be fine. I don't know where this philosophy came from that you had to give that, but it looked like it was unacceptable to come empty-handed. I mean, sometimes come for Shabbos, they think you can't come empty-handed, you come as a guest for Shabbos. You have to bring something, a bottle of wine, you have to do something. It's nice, right? But to come to the prophet, the covenant. You come to prophet, man of God. What does he care about half a shekel? He's not going to give. He's not going to make it rich. He's not interested in being rich. It looks like there's something more than that. It's like, to me, it looks like it's a way of connecting with the soul of the prophet. You have to give something of yours to make you one, and then whatever he can read into your soul. I don't know how these things work, but imagine it's something like that. It's a bit. I know by Hasidim it's the same thing. When you come to the Rebbe, you have to, and you give a kvittel, you have to give a pigeon. And a pigeon, not a pigeon, from Hebrew, pidyon. Pidyon means a redemption. It means some type of money. But the Rebbe doesn't get rich from it. It doesn't have to be big. It's just it's symbolic of giving something of yourself, and maybe it's a way of uniting the soul. It comes from this idea. Okay, that's certainly what the custom was. The Higid Lano, and he will tell us Estarkenu, our way. Okay. Now we have a pasuk which is really been added in by the author. It's not part of the story, which is the following information. Lefanim. Lefanim means right, sort of before, right, but it means this is how it used to be. In the past, lefanim means when you're reading this story, it's not going to be true anymore what I'm telling you, but this is how it used to be. It used to be, B'nai Yisrael, amongst Jewish people, Ka Amar Aish. This is what a man would say. This is how it used to be. Belechto, when he went, Lidrosh Elokim, to seek God, to inquire, like a drosha, to try and understand, to get a message from God. What would you say if you were going to get a message from God? Lechu, let's go. V'neilcha, and we will go. That's like, let us go. I don't know really what it's really repeated. Lechu v'neilcha, let's go and go. Ad haro'eh, until the ro'eh. A ro'eh means, come on, lirot, to see. So a seer, S-E-E-R, a person who sees. So the custom, that means Hebrew, when you would say to me, you're going to a prophet, you wouldn't say the word prophet. Obviously, you spoke Hebrew. You didn't say that, you said the ro'eh. That was the word they used to use.
Is this the same context that we say Rabbi Leader? The Lechu B'Nacha?
It's probably where the author of the Chadodi got it from.
You got it from here?
Probably.
So is it same?
I imagine all the words in the Chadodi are taken from some scripture somewhere. You just have to be clever enough to spot where they come from. So it could be, though, it's exactly the same
But
words.
it's meaning the same thing?
Yeah,
It's in the
let's
same
go.
context?
Yeah, but it comes in other places as well. It doesn't have to be from here. L'chud v'nel chabar Hashem. There's another pasuk in Tehillim somewhere. So it could be from here, it could be from there. Okay. So if you were going to acquire the word of God, you would say, let's go to the ro'eh. Ki lanavi hayom. Because to the prophet today, that means what we would today call a prophet in modern Hebrew, meaning the Hebrew that the author is writing this comment. Whoever's writing this comment is, nowadays we call them Naviim. In those days they didn't call them the Naviim, they called them the Ro'eh.
This is Shmuel. Shmuel wrote it.
I get to understand. Let's just read the bottom first. That's a very good observation. Yikarei, he would be called, not Yikra. Yikra was he called. Yikarei, he would be called Lefanim, in the past, Haro'eh. So they used to say, let's go to the Ro'eh, because what today we call the Navi, in the olden days, they used to say Ro'eh. And the reason why whoever wrote this pasuk is telling you this is an introduction to the next story. The next story, Shmuel, is called the Ro'eh. So it looks like whoever authored this is concerned that you're not going to know what that means. Ro'eh, what's the Ro'eh? Who ever heard of the word Ro'eh? So he wants to tell you before you start the story, you should know in those days, what we now call Navi, they used to call a Ro'eh. It's just another ancient Hebrew word for the same thing. So
Sounds like someone added this after
correct.
Shmuel wrote
It's
it.
that. Well, wait. Let's go first. I hear your problem. Let's raise the problem and then we'll hear your answer. Right? Okay. So the question: who wrote this pasuk? Right? Our tradition is that Shmuel wrote the Book of Shmuel. At least this part of Shmuel. That's what it says in the Gemara of Aish. Okay. Now Shmuel died about 2 years after this story, so it's hard to believe that the words had taken on different meanings in those 2 years. Language evolved, which is what clearly the Hebrew language has evolved. We used to call our prophets in Hebrew a ro'eh, and now we call them a navi. Right? That's what it's saying. Okay? But how did that happen? And by the time between the time of this story and the time Shmuel wrote it, that was like a year and a half later, 2 years later. What, it changed in such a quick time? It could be. It's just unlikely. Right? What's more likely, as Moshe wants to say, is that somebody added this pasuk in. Now, who could it have been? It wasn't the printers. Probably was the redactors of the Tanach. It means whoever at some point in history decided which books should be part of Tanach, which books shouldn't be part of Tanach, right, was what we would call and that's why the editor of it. He edited it. Probably it was someone around the time of Ezra, because that's the last book of Tanakh. Historically, the last book of Tanakh is the Book of Ezra. After that, there's no new books till you get the New Testament, right? right? But there's no new books in Tanach past then. So presumably it was edited around that time. So that's like how many years after this? 500 years later. So that's not unreasonable. By the time Ezra comes along, they don't use this ancient, archaic word roya anymore. But the editors didn't want to change the text. They could have changed the text. They didn't want to mess with the text and change the word roya to update it to make it readable. No. Why do we change it? We're adding this comment, and now you'll know what it means.
Could have been added as like a commentary, like Ross.
Right, exactly. Correct. But no, it's too old for that. That means it couldn't have been that late. Because you have to realize we have a Greek translation of the Chumash, of the Tanach, called the Septuagint. Okay? So any fiddling that's been done to it by rabbis, right, must have been done beforehand. Because that translation, I imagine, you check it out, that translation will probably have this posuk in it in Greek. So it must have been done before that. Right? That's my assumption is that it was written by. See, if it was a commentary, then it really wouldn't have been put in. It could have by mistake been put into the text.
No, I'm
right?
saying why wasn't it a commentary as opposed to adding it in?
Oh, because the person. That's why I'm saying the person who wrote this commentary was probably the same person who was the author of Tanach, who his own books get into Tanach. So it's feasible that his commentary should be considered on the same level as. Just like Ezra wrote the Book of Ezra. And he put that into the Tanakh, so Ezra was entitled to write this comment and become part of that. No, it's clear that this is meant to be a comment. You can see that's not part of the storyline. There's the question who wrote the comment, that's it. So it's just hard to believe that Shmuel himself did it. It's more likely that Ezra did. Now you get into yourself a more difficult problem, which is the word Navi appears in the Torah. Right? Yeah. So does this pasuk really mean it wasn't used at all beforehand? It's really a modern Hebrew word, the word Navi. Now that's shocking, right? That means someone's fiddled with the words in the Torah.
Could be it's just like there's.
If they didn't want to fiddle with the words here, they could have just changed the words right to Navi, and no one would know any better. To me, it seems clear that the editors of Tanakh didn't want to fiddle with any of it. We've got other proofs that there are even verses clearly missing in the Book of Yeshua. There's no. I can show you the Book of Yeshua works out the refugee cities. And it says there's 4 and 4 altogether, it's 12. It says that. It says these 4 and another 4, altogether 12. And 4 and 4 doesn't make 12. Right? Now we know what those other 4 cities are because they're written in Divrei Hayomim. So the editors of Tanakh could easily have added the other 4 and not have to cover anything up. It looks like they said, look, it doesn't say in our version of the Book of Shmuel there's something missing. We're not going to fiddle with it just because we know what it's supposed to say. No, that's what it is, and you have to be. We're honest. We don't fiddle with things. And here as well, they didn't fiddle with the words Navi. They left it the word Roya because that's what it said. And they wrote this comment, so you should know what it means.
So why didn't they?
So how did the word Navi come into Chumash? I don't know the answer to that. Possibly, it doesn't mean to say that only the word Roya was used. It could be they have slightly different meanings. They're not just another word for the same thing. But the word ro'eh is no longer used. The word navi was used. But in those days they also used the word ro'eh. So I explained the Vilna Gaon explains what is the difference between a ro'eh and a navi. The word navi doesn't mean to prophesy. It's from the word niv. Hebrew nun bet, which means to give a speech. In modern Hebrew you talk about a niv, it means an expression of speech. Like birds of a feather flock together. Right? You heard that expression? Okay, so that's an expression of speech. In Hebrew, it's called niv. So the word navi means to speak. A ro'eh is a seer, a guy who sees the future. So in English, when we say the word prophet, we mean a ro'eh, right? But the word navi really means a guy who gives a sermon, which is what prophets did, right? But it's got really nothing to do with prophesying. In the way we translate it. So it could be those are 2 different jobs. A Navi, who's a very spiritual man, can do one of 2 things. He can give a sermon, lots of people can give sermons, but a real soul-searching sermon will be for people who need directed. Now, our prophets, instead of being seers, which was their original function, they became guys who gave sermons because the Jewish people didn't behave. So you had Yeshaya and Yechezkel and all these great prophets who understand the Jews. If you don't do tshuva, then God's going to send you into exile. Now that's not really a seer, he's a sermon. So it could be that the function of these spiritual men changed to be primarily one, then became primarily the other, and that's why we turned them into Nevi'im who gave speeches instead of the guy who would tell you where your donkeys are, right? You don't need a guy who could give a good sermon to tell you where your donkeys are. You need the seer, the guy who can see beyond the walls. So it could be they originally had two jobs, and we sort of pushed them into one corner, and that's why they changed their name. Okay? All right. Got time still? Yes, you'll do one more possible. So let's go. That's the introduction. Again, who put it in? That's a bit unclear. Shaul HaNavi. Shaul said to his lad, Tov devarcha, your words are good. Tov, good. Devarcha, your words, good idea. Good idea. Let's go to the man of God. Lecha nelecha. Let's go. They went to the city. Sham Aish him where the man of God was there. Sham is there. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Heima Olim, they are going up. Ole, when it comes to move to Israel, it's called an Ole. Olim. Okay, so they're going up. But Maleh Ha'ir, on the ascent to the city. Right, most cities were probably built on a hill, so they were on their journey, they went up the hill to the city. Veheima, and they matzu Na'arot. They found girls. A Na'ar is a lad. Na'ara is a female lad. What's a female lad? A girl. A young girl. Usually it means young girls around the age of 12, 13, 14. Okay? Technically, it means a girl between the age of 12 and 12 and a half. That's a very technical sense. Okay? Then she gets a different name after that, but usually it means that sort of age. Right? Young girls. Yotz Aish, who are going out. It's describing in the present tense, as if it's happening now. Lish'ov Mayim, to do what? What did he say?
To drink water?
No.
To get water.
To get water, to draw water. Right? Lish'ov Mayim. It's exactly the same story as Rivka. She was going out to draw water from the well when Eliezer with his camels saw her. Lish'ov Mayim. Vayoimru, and they said lohen to them. Hayesh bazeh haroeh. Yesh means
There is.
Hayesh.
There was. No.
Is there?
Is there? Very good. How do you know
Oh,
that?
questioning hay.
Questioning hay, right. And how do you know it's a questioning hay? Dylan, you know.
The underline and two dots.
Right, under the hay is not just a regular patach, but it's a chataf patach. It has two dots. That is indication that it is a question hay.
Really?
Yes. And also there's no dot in the yud. If the hay would have been the, then nearly always there's a dot in the next letter. If it can take a dot, there's certain letters that can't take a dot, like Aleph, Ayin, Hey, Ches, and Resh. But if it's a Yud, if it was really the, it can't mean the. In any case, it doesn't fit in. But it means it's a question. The two indications are A, it doesn't have a dot in the next letter, B, it has a chat of patach. Generally. Okay. If it can. Hayesh bazeh, that means is there. In this means in this city, which is funny because the city is feminine, so it should say bezot. Now maybe it means place. It means they're saying, see, there's a word missed out in the sentence. In this what? So if it says this city, it should be feminine. In this place, it could be it's masculine. Makom. Is there in this place haroeh the seer? So that's why the author had to introduce what does a seer mean? Seeing what? Oh, he's a prophet. Oh, that's what it means. Okay, I'm just going to carry on the next piece. It's such a beautiful story. But ta'anena oisam, and they answered them, means these girls, in the plural. But they all answered at the same time. It doesn't say one of them answered. They all answered. Batei marina, and they said, Yesh, there is. Hine lefanecha, behold,
For you.
in front of you, means he is in front of you. He's ahead. He, the prophet, you're looking for, is ahead of you. Maher, go quickly. Ata, now. Ki hayom, because today, Bala'ir, he came to the city. Means Shmuel arrived today. Why did he come today? Ki zevach hayom, because there is a zevach.
Festival.
No,
No,
that's Chag.
I guess.
Come on, you know what a mizbeach is, don't you?
Oh, a sacrifice.
Very good. Well, mizbeach is an altar. A zevach is a sacrifice. A mizbeach is the pling that you put a zevach on. It's the same word. It's a mem at the beginning. Mizbeach sounds different because one's got a dot. One doesn't have a dot, right? But a zevach is brought on a mizbeach. Ki zebach hayom. There is a sacrifice today. La'am, to the people. Means the people are making a sacrifice. And Shmuel came today from where he was. I don't know why Shmuel was away, right? This is where he lived. We know he lived there. That's how they knew he was there. But he just came to this right today for the sacrifice, which the people are bringing babama on the platform. Bama means a platform, because they had their own altars. You were allowed in those days to have your own altar in your backyard or wherever. And each town probably had its own bama, and they haven't finished yet. When you come to the city, Cain, thus you will find him. B'terem yale habamosa, before he goes up to the bama. Habamosa, to the bama. Lechol, to eat. Ki lo yochal, he won't eat. Ki lo yochal ha'am, the people won't eat. Ad ba'o, till he comes. Ki hu yivarech hazevach, he will bless the sacrifice. Achrei Cain, after that, yochlu hakruim, those who have been called will eat. Ata, and now, alu, go up. Ki oto, because he, kehayom, as clear as the day, tim so you will find him. Now, all they were asked was one very simple question. Does the prophet live here? The answer is yes. All the rest of the information they were not asked for. Not only were they not asked for it, they said the same thing about 3 times in 4 different ways, completely confused, right? It makes no sense. These girls are just babbling on. So Chazal say, you know why? Because Shaul was so stunning that they couldn't keep their eyes off him, and were just like, what more can we say to this gorgeous guy? You know, they're drooling, you know, all of them, and all, just trying to keep the conversation going.
That's
So
true,
it's-
the one they tell him to go quick.
Well, after we finish the conversation, you know, right? They're telling him where to go. Why did Shmuel come today? What's he going to do? They have to wait because they're going to give a brach, and then who asked you all this information?
Why wouldn't they be then like, oh, we'll take you there or something? Escort.
Well, that's 21st century. Yeah, they were Sanua girls. These are basically Akil girls. Now you can't walk down the street with show with you, but you can drag it out.